possible to burn off a lot of junk. In this case, I got a ship, a little brass ship with a sail. It looked like it was stained glass, and it turns out the sail was actually plastic. And now the flame calmed down quite a bit. As you can see the boat down in there. That's kind of art right there, huh? Another little tip when running a furnace. The reason that you want a big tank, this is a 40-pound tank, is you don't want it to ice up. So when propane goes from a liquid to a gas, so it can be burned, that phase change absorbs a tremendous amount of energy. And if you don't have enough surface area on the outside of their tank, as in if you have a small tank, you won't be able to absorb enough heat from the environment, and it'll actually freeze up. So what I've done here to alleviate the freezing up is I've put my propane tank right next to the furnace, which is a bit counterintuitive. You would think that would make it really dangerous. In fact, putting my hand here, that's pretty warm on the back of my hand. But I'm doing this to melt the ice, so as long as I see ice, I know it's not too hot. Alright, we're ready to pour. Shut both valves there. That is really hot. Hope I didn't melt my camera. Alright, brass is even heavier. Getting lazy. That close and it almost wants to burn my hands just from the radiation. Alright, I learned something. When I'm pouring and I've got my knee positioned right up here, the radiation from the ingots is so much that actually I can feel it through the jeans. It actually kind of distracts me from my pouring. The question comes up, if you got brass valves with steel pieces in them, bolts and whatever, how do you get the steel out? You have to cut it apart, smash it apart. The answer turns out to be no. You can see these bolts here. That's steel. And that's steel right there too. See, that's a bolt. There's some other metal steel parts there that came right out. Anyways, I'll show you what comes out of the dross. Pretty interesting dross junk there. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to come out. You can see bolts and miscellaneous pieces of steel. Probably could pick most of that up with a magnet. Maybe not that piece is glowing, but... So what does the dross look like in the daylight? Well, that's a pretty good sized pile of dross there. You see, mostly it's just ash, just remnants of plastic or whatever paint or impurities were there. Hey, come on, get away, chickens. You don't want to eat that stuff, trust me. And I think this turned out really interesting, the way that copper looks. And these are all just pieces of copper that came out of the crucible. That one came off my dross skimmer. That's the last one.
left over from inside the crucible. Left this kind of stalagmite formation. Pretty interesting. That's how much dross you get out of that kind of scrap. Quite a bit, actually. So I think I might start buying my materials new and just save myself all the propane and the trouble of melting it down. Well, I have to say, it is pretty satisfying seeing junk melt and come out as ingots like this.
I think out of all the colors, brass is kind of, I don't know, cliche. Copper is kind of unique. You don't see people casting out of copper too often. So I think that's going to be my metal of choice for now.